For the longest time in South African law, we've been designing care and contact schedules between divorced parents and their kids, very much focused around the needs of the parents. And this is actually quite problematic because if there is one thing that we know really, really well about divorces and kids, is that a bad divorce is going to create very, very big problems for kids later on in life and perhaps continue very negative patterns. Now, grown-ups, and we as grown-ups, we've already had our childhoods, and those patterns and behaviors that make us who we are have already been established. But not for the kids. There is still a chance to intervene to make things better for kids later on in life. So, what we've done and how we've incorporated the Children's Act into South African law is definitely something that I applaud. And that is, we've started taking a look at exactly what kids need. Now, if you've heard of attachment theory before, that's excellent because we are going to use this as a basis for designing care and contact schedules. What is attachment? Well, in a nutshell, it is our attachment styles refer to the way that we feel about ourselves and the way that we relate to other people, especially in our romantic relationships later on in life. And what we've learned is that the first couple of years, the early years in any child's life, is actually quite critical in determining these behaviors and these, even a sense of self-worth and of belonging. So I'm going to leave it up to the experts, and we'll have the School of Life and Schaefer and Emerson give you more information in this regard over the next two videos. And moving on from there, what I'd like to add in at this stage is that it is very important for us to phase in contact between a child and a non-primary parent or a non-custodial parent if there has not been a good bond up until this point. So let's say, for instance, mom and dad have been living apart for a year, and they've had very, very sporadic contact with one of the two parents who they're not living with. In a situation like this, it can actually, and it usually is, quite traumatic for kids to just be thrust 100% into a very irregular contact schedule. So what we need to do is we need to phase in contact, and that's something that we're going to work on later practically. And well, depending on where the kids are and what the relationships are like, we are going to use anywhere between 3 and 6 months typically to phase in contact between the kids and the parents. Very important is that we need to also monitor for signs of stress. And we know from developmental psychology in kids that children at different ages show these signs of stress in different ways. And that's actually quite helpful because the parents can then monitor, is our plan as parents working for our kids? So in your mediations, this is really something that you can educate the parents on. You can perhaps explain it to them in the mediation, or you can give them some reading material in the run up to the mediation and or afterwards. And you can really help the parents to build something that's going to be good for their kids. So there is a lot of responsibility on both parents here to really cooperate. And if they understand the impact that their decisions have on their kids, and how the signs of stress can be read and what they can do about it, they are really in a fantastic position to make the right decisions.